A young white girl was left hanging with a sign Indian land, a lonely Comanche cut her down. The rope creaked under her weight. Not much, just a whisper of hemp against dry wood, but enough to make the coyotes pause in the brush. She swayed, barefoot, toes brushing dust that hadn't seen rain in months. A crude sign hung from her neck, nailed to her blouse with a railroad spike, Indian land. Blood had dried brown around the puncture. Flies clustered at her lips. Her eyes, wide and glassy, stared at nothing. The sun beat down like a hammer on tin. No one came. No one dared. The town of Drabone Flats sat 3 miles east, silent behind shuttered windows. They'd strung her up at dawn. Called it justice. Called it warning. Called it mercy, even. But mercy don't wear a noose. He saw her from the ridge. Silas Red Hand. Last of the Red Hand band. Comanche by blood, ghost by choice. He wore a tattered cavalry coat over buckskin, boots stolen from a dead lawman, and a face carved by wind and grief. His horse, a dun mare with one white sock, snorted at the stink of death. He didn't speak. Didn't move. Just watched the girl turn slow in the breeze, her shadow stretching long and thin across the cracked earth. He knew that sign. Knew the hate behind it. Knew the men who'd written it, Sheriff Cobb with his gold tooth and whiskey breath, Preacher Hale clutching his Bible like a shield, young Billy Rourke who'd once traded him tobacco for rabbit pelts. Good men. Maybe once. Not anymore. The girl's name was Lottie Mayfield. 17. Blonde curls now matted with dust. Daughter of the man who'd burned Redhand's village to the ground 10 winters back. Irony tasted like gunpowder in his mouth. He dismounted slow. Leather creaked. Spurs didn't jingle, he'd tied them quiet years ago. The rope groaned again as he stepped into the shadow beneath her feet. He reached up. Fingers brushed her ankle. Cold. Stiff. Not long dead. Maybe an hour. Maybe less. He pulled his knife, bone handle, edge nicked from skinning deer and cutting rope. One clean slice. She dropped like a sack of grain. He caught her. Barely. Her head lolled against his chest. Smell of sweat, fear, and something sweet, lavender soap, maybe. Faded now. Gone now. He laid her in the dirt. Knelt beside her. Closed her eyes with his thumb. Whispered something in Comanche. Words for the lost. Words for the stolen. Words no white ear would ever understand. Then he heard the hoofbeats. Distant. Steady. Coming fast. He didn't look up. Just wrapped her small body in his coat, hefted her over his shoulder like firewood, and mounted the mare in one fluid motion. Spurs stayed silent. He kicked her ribs. She bolted west, toward the Badlands, toward nowhere. Behind him, the posse crested the ridge, 5 riders, dust pluming like smoke behind them. Cobb in the lead, rifle raised. Shot rang out. Bullet kicked dirt 10 feet shy. Useless. Silas didn't glance back. He rode like the devil himself was chasing him. Maybe he was. The wind howled through the hollows. He found shelter in a dry creek bed, shaded by sandstone overhang. Laid her down gentle on a bed of brittle sage. Checked her neck. Rope burn. Deep. Ugly. But no broken bone. Pulse. Faint. Fretty. Like a bird's heart under snow. Alive. Somehow. He tore a strip from his shirt, soaked it with water from his canteen, last of it, and pressed it to her lips. She didn't stir. Didn't breathe deeper. Just lay there, pale as moonlight on snow, while the sun crawled west and the shadows grew teeth. He should have left her. Should have ridden hard and vanished into the canyons where no white man dared follow. Should have let the buzzards take what the town refused to bury. But something in her face, the curve of her brow, the freckles dusting her nose like cinnamon on bread, reminded him of his sister. Little Running Doe. Taken by fever the same winter the soldiers came. Same winter the smoke choked the sky and the screams didn't stop till dawn. He touched Lottie's hair. Soft. Warm now, from the sun. Alive. That's what mattered. Alive. A gunshot cracked the silence. Close. Too close. He spun, rifle in hand, heart hammering against his ribs. Saw nothing but sage and stone. Then, movement. A flicker of blue shirt behind a boulder. Billy Rourke. Young. Scared. Rifle trembling in his hands. Silas. Voice cracked like dry kindling. Put her down. She's dead meat anyway. Silas didn't answer. Just stared. Let the silence stretch. Let the boy sweat. She killed Pa. Billy shouted. Stabbed him in his sleep. For an Indian. For you, maybe. The words hit like a fist. Silas blinked. Lottie. Killed her own father. Why? For who? He looked down at her face. Peaceful now. Innocent. Or was it just the stillness of near death? Doubt coiled in his gut. Cold. Heavy. Billy raised his rifle. Last chance, Redskin. Silas moved fast. Not toward Billy. Toward Lottie. Scooped her up, threw her over the mare's back, vaulted up behind her. Another shot. This one whined past his ear. He kicked the mare hard. She screamed and lunged forward, hooves throwing dirt and stone. They vanished into the maze of canyons as the sun dipped below the rimrock, painting the sky the color of old blood. Far off, a church bell tolled. He rode through the night. Moon silver on stone. Stars cold and sharp as knife points. Lottie never woke. Never stirred. Just lay limp against his chest, her breath shallow, her skin cool. He talked to her. Quiet. Low. Stories of his people. Of the buffalo herds that once darkened the plains. Of the songs mothers sang to keep the night spirits away. He didn't know if she heard. Didn't matter. The sound of his own voice kept the silence from swallowing him whole. Kept the memories at bay, the fire, the screams, the smell of burning hair and flesh. He'd buried that pain deep. Now it stirred. Like a snake under a rock. Dawn found them at Ghostwater Spring. A trickle of water seeping from cracked limestone. He slid off the mare, eased Lottie down onto a bed of dry grass. Dampened a cloth. Washed her face. Cleaned the rope burns. Her eyelids fluttered. Once. Twice. Then opened. Blue. Clouded with pain. Confused. Terrified. She saw him. Gasped. Tried to scramble back. Weak as a newborn fawn. Shoo, he said. Voice rough as sandstone. You're safe. She stared. Eyes wide. Mouth working. No sound came out. He held up his hands. Empty. No hurt. She flinched anyway. Looked past him. Toward the horizon. Toward Drabone Flats. Tears welled. Spilled. Tracked clean lines through the grime on her cheeks. Why, she whispered. Voice cracked. Barely there. Why cut me down? He didn't answer right away. Poured water into her mouth. Let her drink. Slow. Careful. Because, he finally said, no one deserves that rope. Not even you. Her eyes closed. A sob shook her thin frame. He was going to kill him, my father. He found the letters, found out about Tomas. Silas froze. Tomas? Tomas Blackfeather? His cousin. The one who'd vanished last spring after trading at Trebone. The one who'd whispered about a white girl with eyes like summer sky. The pieces clicked. Sharp. Cruel. Lottie loved Tomas. Tomas loved her. Her father found out. Killed Tomas. Lottie killed him back. Revenge for love. Love for revenge. The circle closed. Tight. Bloody. He should have been angry. Should have cursed her. Should have left her to the ants and the sun. But all he felt was tired. Bone-deep tired. The kind that comes from watching the world repeat its cruelties in endless, grinding loops. He touched her hair again. Sleep, he said. I'll keep watch. She didn't argue. Didn't fight. Just curled into herself like a wounded animal and let the darkness take her. The fire crackled low. He sat with his back to a boulder, rifle across his knees, eyes scanning the dark. The mare grazed nearby, reins loose. The night was quiet. Too quiet. No coyotes. No owls. Just the sigh of wind through sage and the soft, ragged sound of Lottie's breathing. He thought of Tomas. Thought of his sister. Thought of the men riding behind him, Cobb, Hale, Billy, men who called themselves righteous while hanging girls from trees. Men who'd burn the world to ash to keep it pure. He'd spent years running. Hiding. Surviving. But tonight? Tonight he felt something else. Something dangerous. Something like purpose. A twig snapped. He was on his feet before the sound faded. Rifle up. Heart pounding. Scan the shadows. Nothing. Then, movement. Left. Behind the juniper. Too big for a coyote. Too quiet for a deer. Show yourself, he barked. Voice sharp. Cutting the night. Silence. Then, a laugh. Low. Wet. Familiar. Sheriff Cobb stepped into the firelight. Hat gone. Face streaked with dirt and sweat. Rifle dangling loose in his hand. Smiling. Gold tooth glinting like a warning. Well now, Cobb drawled. Ain't this cozy? The savage and his little white whore. Silas didn't flinch. Didn't speak. Just leveled the rifle. Center mass. Cobb didn't raise his. Just kept smiling. Put it down, red hand. You ain't gonna shoot me. Not with her right there. Not with God watchin'. God ain't here, Silas said. Voice flat. Dead. Maybe not, Cobb said. Took a step closer. But Billy is. Silas's blood turned to ice. From the right, Billy Rourke stepped out. Rifle aimed. Not at Silas. At Lottie. Sleeping. Unaware. Defenseless. Drop it, Billy said. Voice shaking. But his hands? Steady. Too steady. Silas didn't move. Couldn't. Sweat trickled down his spine. The fire popped. Sparks flew. Lottie stirred. Mumbled something. Turned her head. Last chance, Cobb said. Or the girl dies twice. Silas's finger tightened on the trigger. One shot. Take Cobb. Maybe. But Billy? Billy would kill her before the echo died. He knew it. They all knew it. Slowly. So slow. He lowered the rifle. Let it thud into the dirt. Cobb's smile widened. Good boy. He stepped forward. Kicked the rifle away. Nodded to Billy. Tie him. Billy moved fast. Rope. Rough. Tight around Silas's wrists. Pulled hard. Silas didn't resist. Just watched Lottie. Watched her sleep. Watched the rise and fall of her chest. Alive. Still alive. Cobb crouched beside her. Touched her cheek. Pretty thing, he murmured. Shame about the hanging. But rules is rules. Land's gotta stay clean. He stood. Nodded to Billy. Load her up. We'll finish this at sunrise. Public like. Let the whole town see what happens when white girls forget their place. Billy holstered his rifle. Bent to lift Lottie. Silas moved. Fast. Faster than thought. Headbutt. Right into Cobb's nose. Cartilage crunched. Cobb howled. Staggered back. Silas twisted. Drove his boot heel into Billy's knee. Heard the pop. Billy screamed. Dropped. Silas snatched Cobb's fallen rifle. Swung the stock. Connected with Billy's temple. Boy went down hard. Still. Cobb scrambled back. Blood pouring from his nose. Reached for his sidearm. Silas leveled the rifle. Don't. Cobb froze. Eyes wild. Hatred burning. Silas didn't shoot. Couldn't. Not with Lottie right there. Not with her breathing soft in the dirt. He tossed the rifle aside. Advanced. Slow. Deliberate. Cobb whimpered. Backed into a boulder. Nowhere to run. Silas stopped inches away. Smelled the whiskey on his breath. Saw the fear in his eyes. Real. Raw. Human. You hang girls, Silas said. Voice low. Calm. You burn villages. You call it law. Call it God's work. He leaned in. But you're just a coward with a rope and a badge. He pulled his knife. The same one that cut her down. Held it up. Blade glinting in firelight. Cobb squeezed his eyes shut. Do it. Go on. Make me a martyr. Silas smiled. Cold. Empty. No, he said. Martyrs get remembered. You'll just be forgotten. Like dust. He turned. Walked back to Lottie. Scooped her up. Mounted the mare. Looked down at Cobb, bleeding, broken, cowering. Run, Silas said. Run fast. And pray I don't change my mind. He kicked the mare. She leapt forward. Vanished into the dark. Cobb didn't move. Didn't speak. Just sat in the dirt, cradling his nose, staring at the spot where Silas had stood. The fire sputtered. Died. The wind howled through the hollows. They rode for 3 days. East. Away from the Badlands. Away from Drabone. Toward the railroad. Toward the towns that didn't know their names. Lottie woke slow. Said little. Ate less. Just stared at the horizon with eyes that had seen too much. Silas didn't push. Didn't pry. Just rode. Watched. Protected. At night, he'd build small fires. Keep them warm. Keep them safe. She'd sit across from him. Silent. Distant. But alive. Always alive. On the 4th morning, she spoke. Why didn't you kill him? Silas poked the fire. Didn't look up. Killing him wouldn't bring Tomas back. She was quiet a long time. Then, it would have felt good. He nodded. Yeah. It would have. She looked at him. Really looked. For the first time. Why'd you save me? After everything, after what my father did to your people, after what I did, he met her gaze. Held it. Because someone had to. She didn't cry. Didn't smile. Just nodded. Like she understood. Like she carried the same weight. They rode on. Reached the railroad by sundown. Tracks gleaming like silver snakes in the dying light. Water tower. Empty platform. Ghost town feel. They rested the mare. Drank from the pump. Ate hardtack in silence. The air smelled of creosote and distant rain. Then, the whistle. Low. Long echoing across the flats. A train. Westbound. Due any minute. Silas stood. Brushed dust from his pants. Looked at Lottie. This is it. Board the train. Go east. Start over. New name. New life. She didn't move. What about you? He shook his head. My place ain't there. Ain't anywhere, really. She stood. Stepped close. Reached up. Touched his face. Calloused fingers gentle on his scarred cheek. Come with me. He closed his eyes. Felt the warmth of her hand. Felt the ghost of Tomas. Felt the weight of all the graves he'd dug. All the ropes he'd cut. Can't, he whispered. The train whistle blew again. Closer. Louder. She didn't argue. Didn't beg. Just stood on her toes. Kissed his cheek. Quick. Soft. Like a promise broken before it's made. Then she turned. Walked to the platform. Didn't look back. The train roared into the station. Steam hissed. Brakes screamed. Doors opened. She stepped up. Vanished inside. Silas watched the train pull away. Watched the dust swirl in its wake. Watched till the last car vanished around the bend. Then he turned. Mounted the mare. Rode west. Back toward the Badlands. Back toward the ghosts. He didn't look back. Not once. The wind howled through the hollows. They found Cobb 3 days later. Wandering the desert. Dehydrated. Delirious. Babbling about a ghost with a knife and eyes like winter. They took him back to Drabone. He resigned. Left town that same night. No one saw him again. Billy Rourke. Woke up with a shattered knee and a dent in his skull. Walked with a limp after that. Quiet. Withdrawn. Left Drabone too. Joined a monastery up north. Some say he prays for Lottie. Some say he prays for Tomas. Most say he just prays for silence. Lottie. She boarded a train to St. Louis. Changed her name to Eleanor Reed. Became a schoolteacher. Never married. Never spoke of the West. But every Sunday, she'd walk to the edge of town. Stand by the tracks. Watch the trains come and go. And sometimes, just sometimes, she'd swear she saw a lone rider on the horizon. Dun mare. Tattered coat. Watching. Waiting. Never coming closer. As for Silas Red Hand, they say he vanished into the canyons. Became a spirit of the Badlands. A shadow on the ridge. A whisper in the wind. Some claim he still cuts down the unjust. Leaves no sign but a cut rope and a patch of disturbed earth. Others say he found Tomasa's grave. Dug it up. Carried the bones to sacred ground. Sang the old songs. Let the earth take what the fire couldn't. But the truth? The truth is simpler. And sadder. He rode west. Alone. Until the water ran out. Until the mare stumbled. Until the sun bleached his bones white as the girl's skin the day he cut her down. They found him years later. Slumped against a sandstone spire. Rifle across his lap. Knife still in his hand. Eyes open. Staring east. Toward the railroad. Toward the life he let go. No marker. No name. Just dust. And silence. And a single, frayed rope coiled neat beside him. Like he was waiting. Like he was ready. Like he knew, deep down, that some ropes can't be cut. Some just have to be carried. Until they bury you. The wind howled through the hollows. And somewhere, far away, a church bell tolled.